This is eCommerce Uncensored. Brought to you by Fast Forward Unlimited. We're coming to you fully loaded and exposed with all the strategies and techniques for growing your e-commerce business.
Hey everyone, and thanks for joining us on another episode of eCommerce Uncensored. This is episode number 91. My name's Kevin Manell, and I'm here with
Jason Caruso.
And today, we have another installment of our Klaviyo Boston.
Installment?
You're going to bring that up again?
Yeah, because
why?
It's not an installment. First of all, it's an episode in a series.
I want to look up installment, and you can and we can look at it together and see what it is.
Okay.
Installment means several different things, and you can use that in this context. It's another installment. Like when you make an installment payment, isn't that one of several? Is an installment one of several payments?
Yeah, but this is an episode, a podcast episode.
But it's one of four.
Okay.
So this is one of four podcasts. It's an installment of our podcast series.
Right. Well, how about this? You go install the podcast. and
Installment. Let's see. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Paul. Any of a series of parts of something that are published, broadcast, or made public in the series in a sequence at intervals. That's exactly what we're doing. It actually says published. Go ahead, say it. Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead, say it. You could say it. Everybody knows. I'm right.
Look, there is proper terminology for the platforms that you use. You would never.
The definition of installment is exactly what we're doing here.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So today we have another episode with our Klaviyo Boston interview series.
Can I just say something real quick before we get into it?
Please go ahead.
It's funny because we get from time to time we get people complaining that we talk about Klaviyo a lot, but the podcast is like taking off. So the point I'm trying to make is that our job here behind these microphones is to introduce people to things that actually we're experiencing and things that help us help our clients make money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And every day I'm getting people emailing me that they're signing up for Klaviyo. Okay? So I think that even though this may annoy some people, I think if you're serious about your store, then these are the kind of podcasts that you're going to be interested in, because Klaviyo, forget about them as a company and them being great, which they are. You know, the platform email marketing is like the key to, being successful online with a store.
Well, even this specific episode with Jake Cohen, which is the director of product at Klaviyo, he talks about a lot of the new features that are coming out in Klaviyo, specifically to Klaviyo, obviously, because he works for Klaviyo. But this is where email marketing is going. Every platform is going in this direction.
Right, and it's like the back end stuff.
And they're on the cutting edge of everything needs to be done in your email platform. So it's basically bringing the things that Amazon has been doing, the things that, all these big retailers are doing in the back end. They're bringing it to, a smaller market that can afford it and don't need huge development teams.
Right. These are all things that these big guys, these guys that have all this money, can do. And now Klaviyo, and look, the truth about the matter is other platforms are doing the same thing. We happen to like Klaviyo, and we happen to have a relationship with them. And if you use our link, ecommerceuncensored.com/email, it will redirect you to their site. And if you're thinking about switching your email platform, we would appreciate it if you use that link because it helps us out. But, we happen to like them. But you're right. Like, take Klaviyo out of the equation. This is just cool stuff to learn about.
Yeah.
And to learn like what's possible, right? Because, not to use like a Bible reference, but I think a lot of people do perish in business and in these kind of like things because they don't have enough information. Mm-hmm. They don't really know what's possible. And so this is just, whether you like Klaviyo or not, whether you plan on using Klaviyo or not, just the stuff that email can do.
Yeah, when you're on Amazon and you're browsing around and you look at a product and the next thing you know, you get an email in your inbox that's exactly what you browsed for. That's the kind of thing that, Klaviyo is doing. And not just Klaviyo. This is where marketing where email marketing is going.
Or well, that's where it is.
To the masses,
really.
yeah.
It really is there.
But it's just getting more and more intense.
Yeah.
And in this interview with Jake Cohen, he's going to talk about, some of the advances, some of the things that are coming down the line that are improving the system and making it better, and new things to get excited for.
All right. So without wasting any more time, Kevin, let's get into the interview.
Yeah, with Jake Cohen. Enjoy.
With Jake Cohen.
Okay, so now we're here with Jake Cohen.
Hey.
Director of Product. Say hello, Jake.
Truth, what's up?
You know what? If you want, we can put this up.
All right, we're going to adjust his microphone.
Fly.
He's tall.
Doing it on the fly.
He's tall. He's tall.
Sorry, you got to lean over a little bit, too.
Unlike our last guest, we actually listened to his keynote, and we actually made it you don't know this, but we made it a point to be there today because we heard what you were going to talk about, which is like new stuff and features and that kind of stuff, and that's kind of like what we like. It's
nice.
Like geeky.
Yeah.
And there are some things in there that are pretty awesome. I don't know what your guys' timeline is with releasing them to people like our listeners, but we have a lot of listeners who actually have moved over to Klaviyo on our recommendation. So they have some experience with it. And I think if you can, maybe talk about some of the stuff that you spoke about this morning. I don't know if you can, but...
Yeah. I think, well, first of all, thank you.
You're welcome.
For the recommendation and for the people who came. Rock on. I think we're publishing the talk itself.
Okay.
At some point in like the next week or two.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, I mean, people can sort of see what's coming. I think the big things... I'm trying to remember my whole speech off the top of my head. I think the big things are, one, if they don't know about form targeting
Yeah,
to listen
that was pretty
segments,
awesome.
I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
Because you can literally do like anything.
Well, it's all behavioral based,
That's right.
which is like huge because our clients, all of them, we have some clients up to like the 25 million, kind of in revenue, but like the littler guys, they love to hear that like behavioral word.
That's right.
And Klaviyo brought that to the small to medium guy.
Yep.
Right? Like the person does this and then that and then send them this email, and if they don't open this email, send them the other email, and then maybe change the subject line and give them something else. And it's like, it's pretty awesome that, you're giving that sort of, control to guy like, just the everyday store owner.
Yeah. So something that you wouldn't know about me that didn't come out in the keynote.
This is an exclusive.
This is an exclusive. Heard only here and here first. My whole career, actually, my parents started an ad agency when I was a kid.
Okay.
And throughout my whole career, as I kind of like think about the things that have been interesting to me and been exciting, it's kind of been like, I call it Robin Hooding, where you go to the sort of big, sophisticated brands that have, hundreds of people and millions of dollars and all this time that are on the cutting edge figuring things out. And you basically take what they figured out and you productize it, and you make it really, really cheap, and you give it to everyone that doesn't have the bandwidth, the budget, or the expertise.
Right.
And you make them like supercharged, right? That you can, market like Target or like Amazon, even if your brand's only doing a couple $100,000 a year or less.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's awesome. And so a lot of what we're trying to do is make sure that we think about what are the sophisticated use cases, what are the sophisticated ways that you can connect with your customers in a way that's like relevant and helpful, and then how do we make it easy and cheap so that anyone can do it.
Yeah, and that's, I think that's, you guys are doing that. I mean, obviously, the flows, we're just talking about that in our last podcast. That's like a big step, right? Because that's like all visual now.
Yep.
Easy to do, set up. But it just seems like, everybody that we speak to, you guys are all on the same page. You guys all think the same way, and which is nice because it kind of keeps the message. And I think that you guys are really doing a good job of making sophisticated tools easy to use.
Love that.
And
so we try. It's hard. We try. There's every Friday we have we do a product review, and so all the product managers and a bunch of constituents from different departments come together, and we put up features that we're considering, and it's like, it is such an intense, 2 hours, because we take it really, really seriously that we make things that work, but that are really easy to use. And someone will put something up and we'll be like, what the hell is that? And we'll like reference customers we've talked to, like, how's John supposed to go use that, right? Like he's never going to be able to click that many times. And we just like get all the way through it until it's like, simpler. So it's great that you guys see that.
And we were just talking to Alex, and we basically said to her, like, you guys all talk the same way. It's like always about us. right? The customer,
Yes.
the client. It's like,
Yes.
how do we make them more money? How do we make it
Yes.
easier for them? How do we make this more practical? How do we make this, and it's just always like about the end goal,
Yes.
the end user, rather than like, and it seems real, rather than like, let's build all these things so that we can charge more money and we can get more people. Like, it's
Yeah.
like completely opposite. And you guys do it so easily. It's like so natural. And I told Alex before, it's like the consistency of the way you hire here is just, it's unbelievable. Everybody that you talk to, you can grab anybody, doesn't matter what their title is, no matter what they do, and they will sit there and talk to you.
Yep.
And it doesn't sound like that's all that important, but when it trickles down into the product, that attitude, that excitement, that all that stuff, you see it in the work that you're doing.
Awesome. It's cool to hear that. It makes hiring hard.
Right.
Because not just anyone will do, but the yield is the people are. I mean, that was kind of the point I was trying to make. Like, I love what I do because of the people
Right.
that we work with,
And you build cool stuff.
Yeah, it's super fun, right?
Right.
We do something internally where I think this is atypical for other companies, but we actually have chat rotations for our engineering and product team. So they literally go on chat for I think 2 days a month and just talk to customers.
Yeah.
They could be on the phone, whatever else, because it's like we don't want people like off in the corner in La La Land not really understanding what's helpful or what's important. Like, we should all basically be our own customers so that we can make stuff that's actually usable.
Yeah, but I think it's deeper than that, because there are a lot of companies that talk to their customers. You guys actually listen. That's like, I think, the other side of it, right? Like, you actually, no matter how stupid it may or may not be, you still consider it, right? Like, okay,
Always.
maybe this doesn't sound like that big of a deal to us, but one of our clients is actually struggling with this, and you take that and and you figure out whether or not you can address it or not, and that's genuine, which is nice. I mean, your talk today, what really like got me excited. It wasn't the
that's cool.
it wasn't the pop-ups.
Yeah.
Because I can make that happen with other third-party tools. I
Yep.
mean, it's just much easier now that it's in Klaviyo. What really got me excited is the predictable stuff.
Yeah.
Like the science stuff you guys are rolling out, like how you can predict what somebody may or that's creepy, but like awesome stuff.
Kind of awesome, yeah.
It's awesome. Like you have all these signals that tell the software what somebody may or may not do.
I think the biggest message that I've gotten from like all the presentations, and no one's really talking about, okay, Klaviyo is going to make you this much money, or it's going to, even though it'll increase revenue and things like that. But the biggest thing is building relationships with your customers, not just selling them shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you guys do the same thing with us who are your clients. And I think that it trickles down in that way. So we feel that. And I think that's what gets me the most excited about presenting this to our clients and pushing them to create bigger relationships with their customers.
It's awesome. It feels very good to hear. So thanks. Internally, Andrew, when we talk about sort of what our future is.
Well, for everybody who's listening, who's Andrew?
Andrew's our CEO.
Okay.
We call him AB, so if that slips out, that's why.
It starts, but I say that because I feel like it starts from the top.
Yeah, 100%.
It always starts from the top, right? The company is like a bunch of shitheads. Excuse my language.
Yeah,
It starts from the top.
that's right. Yeah.
And
And so that's the thing. Like we talk about, like, I don't know, we'd like to play what if. Like what happens in the future for us? Like, what does this company become? And of course, you talk about, should we be acquired? Should we go public? Like what ultimately happens? And we actually kind of skip over that stuff. We're like, no, we're just going to make a long-standing, lasting pillar company in Boston. And when you think about from that perspective, like what's required to do that, it's like you need customers for a long, long time that benefit from what you're doing, that you have great relationships with. So like even when we talk about ourselves, that's what we try to stay really, really focused on, and kind of let all the other stuff, it will take care of itself if we solve that.
And
well.
it's kind of like a weird thing, I'm sure, for you guys, right? Because if you get acquired, a lot of people will
Which
get
we won't.
well,
Not happening.
Just saying, a lot of people will make money, or some people will make a lot of money, or whatever. But then the question is, how will you ever replace? I mean, now look, I'm sure there are people that leave Klaviyo, like any other business, but how do you replace that? It's hard to replace this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's pretty. I've worked at a lot of places in my career. I've helped start companies too. If I were to go start another company, it would probably look a lot like this.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people feel that way. There's something special. I feel going on here. We just have good people and great customers, and I think what's amazing when you think bigger picture about what we're doing, like, yeah, we've got a lot of cool tools and people make a ton of money and it's pretty easy to use compared to everything else. But like, I don't know about you guys, but we feel like we have barely scratched the surface.
No, you're right. I said this yesterday. I guess on our other, like, you guys are just at the beginning.
Very beginning.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's so many different things. I'm sure you guys haven't even talked about at all that you've been thinking about.
I was just out with Eric, one of the data science guys that you were referencing, and we were both like, man, it's great that people are excited, but it's so clear that, like, oh man, we have so much that we're gonna do that's yet to come, and it just makes us even more bullish about the future.
Yeah, I don't know, I haven't heard this from anyone, but I am really excited about you guys getting to a point where you can do all these amazing things, but make me, the customer, not have to think about it.
That's right. Yeah.
So I was just telling Alex, like, I log into my account and there are notifications. Your customers look like they buy mostly on the 30th day that they're on your list. You should send them an email saying something.
No one told you anything like this?
I haven't heard that. No.
Okay, so ready? This is pretty cool that's what you picked up on. So we have like a sort of like medium long-term vision and then like a long thing. Our medium long-term is we want to envision a world where it's like you log in and we say like, good morning, Kevin. Here's the 3 things that you should do today. And they're sorted in order of how much money we think they'll make you and how much time it will take. So that all you have to do really is like, maybe it says like, hey, we noticed that this product is selling really well. Why don't you send a campaign to your VIPs so that you can sell it some more? Like, click to do.
Yeah.
And so like we think about how do we set ourselves up to have the information to understand your business even probably better than you might.
Right.
And then start
from
to
a data point, right?
From a data point of view,
yeah.
and then start to make some suggestions and observations that you could take advantage of. In the long term, what we think about is if you think about what makes what humans can do uniquely well, better than any sort of machine or algorithm or whatever else.
Relationship.
Yeah, but also the creative,
Right.
right? It's like the brand, it's the essence, it's the words that you put together, it's the personality that we have and that we put out. And so our long term thinking is like, how do we make all the other stuff go away?
Right, because there's, I guess it is B2B, but really you've brought a sophisticated, complex thing to the masses.
Yeah.
Right? So there is going to be a point, whether you're there or not, I don't know if you're there, but where the sophistication and the user there's going to be a gap somewhere.
Well,
right?
but see, I guess I don't think so. Because I think that's a function of like how much you expose. So I'll give you an example. Take a car.
Right.
When the cars first came out, right, you had to, fix the spark plugs in the engines, and you had to clean it out every time you go. Kind of like when you use a helicopter right now. There's like a ton of maintenance that has to happen. And both from the cost and the maintenance perspective, like not everyone can just have a helicopter. There's a ton of work that has to happen.
Right.
But imagine if they sort of cleaned themselves, that they were durable, that you didn't have to have that maintenance, and flying it was as simple as just pushing a button and it would take you where you want to go. As long as it was cheap and usable, like everyone could use that. And so it's kind of up to us to make sure that that gap never exists.
Well, I meant from a perspective like when I log in and you tell me do this, do that, do this, I feel like that's filling the gap that I'm talking about.
Yeah, right.
Right. Like, so I don't mean there's a gap where you're not going to be able to like do it. I mean like the gap is going to be filled by all that second level automation
100%.
stuff.
Yep.
And that's to me, that excites me because you can do it 2 ways. You can use the person's data.
Right.
And also you can grab data from other clients that we can't see.
Right.
And you can predict or recommend things that I may or may not have thought about.
Right.
And that to me is like exciting because I think that like people get confused with automation. And I think it's really like something that scares people sometimes. And I feel like if you can make it like at that level, like, hey, Jason, we've noticed that your data is telling us this, go do that.
Exactly.
To me, like, man, that is like, it's like you can't get any better than that.
We're working on it.
One of the other great things that I learned from your presentation this morning was how you're bringing Klaviyo to your website and you're building out like a custom experience for all of your subscribers when they go to the website. So like if you want to get a subscriber that you already have, if you want to get more information on them, you can show them specific. So maybe if you could talk a little bit about that custom feature. Is that available yet, or is that coming in?
No, it's coming in. Not yet.
What's the holdup?
Nothing else going on. Yeah, that's really exciting. So we've done a pretty good job with email in the past. I think people have been pretty successful. I shared that this year alone, customers across Klaviyo in 2018 made $1 billion in revenue through Klaviyo, which is pretty sweet.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of crazy to think about. But we were thinking, like, so email's good, right? And we've helped with Facebook advertising too, syncing your information so that you can be more targeted and have better results. And we were thinking about where your customers would be as a store, right? And like, obviously, actually the specific data that we looked at and talked about to think that way is when we looked at the conversion rate for sign-up forms. Right. So some of the best converting sign-up forms are around 8-9%. And we were like, wow, that's really good. But actually, that's like 92 to 91% of people that aren't converting. Right. And so it's like, oh man, if we're only really able to reach the people that we have an email address for, could we like 9x that or more if we were in a different place? Meaning that if we could start to influence those relationships and make those more helpful and beneficial for both the brand and the consumer, would that be better for you? And I think the answer is yes. And so, we're moving to the website. And I think what I'm excited about that, it kind of like pays to the automation that you were talking about. Different people are at different points in their relationship with the brand. Right. And as a result, you can't just like slap a form up or like, here, go buy these things. Like, actually, Amazon's recommended products are like kind of not that awesome.
No, we bought these mics and they recommended stands or shock mounts.
Yeah.
That people who bought this, and they didn't even work.
Exactly. Right.
So we had to
It's
return
like
them.
Not helpful. Right.
Yeah, it's like crap.
And so I think we're trying to be thoughtful about how individuals and brands connect over time, right? A relationship is not like one overnight. It's just a series of interactions that over time create a sum that is either a good or bad relationship. And if we can always have the opportunity at every touch point to make the relationship stronger, that's going to be good for you. It's going to be good for the consumer. And on the website, if that's about learning more about them so you can personalize communication, we want to make sure we do that for you. But if it's about giving them the products that they're most excited about, like a stand that actually fits your microphone, we help with that too.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that happened. Now, I said earlier that we can just grab any of you guys and you'll talk to us.
Yeah.
Right. Jake's sort of a big deal here. And we only have a couple more minutes.
Okay.
So I wanted to ask you something because I listened to your presentation and I'm, first of all, I'm blown away by some of the things you're doing. But then the next thing that comes to my mind is, how is mobile affecting that? Because you're talking really about desktop for the most part, right? Because these fly-ins and like the bottom right-hand corner pop-ups, that doesn't really happen on mobile the same way, right? The experience is completely different.
Yeah.
And so how is that affecting the way that you guys are building some of your stuff?
Yeah, it's a great question. So anything that we build, especially with the sign-up forms and the dynamic content, is all going to be mobile optimized as well. So using responsive design, we can reorient what information gets shown up and how to make sure that it fits the form factor being mobile, different size phones, tablets, whatever else. And so we can control that experience, and we do. I think, candidly, we could do better here. So one of the things that we think about is for the template editor, because we collect information on who's coming to your site, we know roughly the percentage of people, the breakdown of mobile versus desktop. I think, and something that when we turn our attention there that would be really cool, is if your traffic is more than 50% mobile, the email editor should actually be mobile first.
Right.
So then instead of designing for desktop and having an option to see it in mobile, you should be designing for mobile and have an option to see it in desktop. And like these little nuances, taking into account the customer's customer, how they like to consume that information, we could do better at that. But we're always designing with the experience in mind that like this has to translate both from desktop to mobile because people are everywhere. Yeah. And it has to fit for both.
And it changes depending on what they're on, right? When they're on their phone, they may or may not be as committed to what they're searching to.
Totally.
Right? So maybe
especially with product recommendations, like for myself, I browse a ton on my phone, and I'll often add things to a cart
and then
come back to it because I want to show my wife and be like, "Hey, here's what I'm thinking." Like,
you want to ask
go
your
ahead.
wife.
Yeah, you need the permission.
you didn't want to show her anything. You wanted to ask her. Right?
Hon, is this okay? Well, get the blessing and then go.
Right, exactly.
So yeah.
All right. Yeah. So that's. I always want to throw that mobile in because I know people think about it, and I know that. I know mobile has helped a lot, but it also screws up a lot of stuff like that you're trying to do
Yeah.
like on the website, because like all these cool things just react or the behavior is different on a mobile device, and it like annoys me.
Yeah,
right? So
we think about that a lot and pay attention a lot. I think we do a good job being sensitive to it, but not a good job like focusing on it first. So, for
Right.
example, if you look in the sign up form editor, there is an opportunity to actually customize the experience on mobile versus desktop for the same form. We do that automatically based on what we think is right, but you could, literally have totally different experiences off the same form. But like, who wants to go configure all that stuff? It should just kind of work the way you want.
Right.
So we're getting there. There's certainly more work to do in
Again,
every
you're at the
department.
beginning of this, man.
We're so early when we think about what should be and what's possible that like there's just endless opportunity to make things
especially
amazing.
since you're in a space that one little feature is like a big deal,
Yeah.
right? Like it does, like it's not like a big thing maybe, but it is a big thing because it can change the dynamic of everything that you're doing. One little feature.
Yeah, I think what personally I get really excited about, we're big fans of speed. All of our conference rooms are named after different fastest things in the world. So we
You
have
want to say Jason Caruso on there?
right, maybe we got to add one new room.
Oh, that'd be the slow room.
So you take a nap.
So we, I think this year I think we've shipped, if I can remember correctly, about 40 features so far across our different teams. So when you talk about these like things that can be helpful, like literally more than once a week, every single week, we are putting more and more and more improvements and enhancements out there. And that's just the stuff that's customer facing. There's double that. And that's all the stuff under the hoods. Like in January, for example, we made our segmentation speed go 27 times faster.
Right.
Because you need to get answers quickly.
And
so it's like,
nobody's gonna know that.
no, no one knows that. But we're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And you see people like create more segments, and they
Right,
start
yeah.
to kind of roll. And as we just add more of these great people that you were talking about, I just expect those numbers to go way, way up.
I think that's a good place to wrap there.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much.
Sweet.
As
we got
always.
I also saw your panel yesterday, the surprising wins. I thought that was a really cool.
You got another one today. You got to come back to the next one.
What time is that?
3:30.
3:30. Okay, I'm gonna get
Everyone listening, you got to watch that too. We'll have like a link in the description.
Yeah.
Go see that video too.
And if you want to sign up for Klaviyo eCommerce, uncensored.com/email, it will redirect you. We'd appreciate it if you use our link because they
Use the link.
They are tracking where their signups are coming. They're trying to track where their signups are coming from, and it's really helpful that you guys use that link.
We want
Jake,
to come here again next year.
Yes.
You're in.
Right. Thanks, Jake. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You
so
guys
much.
are awesome. Thank
Right,
you for being great supporters.
Thanks for having us.
Right on.
Cool.
Jake was a good guy.
He really was a good guy. I enjoyed talking to him. I mean, he was one of the top guys. So I feel like he was a little bit, I don't want to say like rushy, but he was busy.
Oh yeah, he was at
And you could tell, like, we were done. He took the headphones off, and he was gone.
Well, he had a short time period because he had another presentation due. Yeah, he was, and it's funny. We told that story when I did the Brian Whaley episode about the quote unquote wrong Jake. This
Right.
was the
This
was
is the right Jake.
This was
Yeah,
the right
right.
Jake. Yeah. So
So
that was really fun. It was really good chatting with him.
yes, and don't forget, if you guys are interested, ecommerceuncensored.com/email. You can sign up for Klaviyo for free. And we'd appreciate that. Also, don't forget about our Facebook group, ecommerceuncensored.com/Facebook.
Yes,
It will redirect you to the group.
which has been great, by the way.
Yeah,
really
it's
enjoying it,
growing. I mean, we don't have 1 million people in there, but to be honest with you, I like that it's intimate, that we can talk with people. Like, we're getting to know everybody in there. It's pretty awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So, anyway, do that. Anyway, this has been episode number 91. Thank you for joining us, and you can check us out at ecommerceuncensored.com.
Later.
See ya.